So it's Tristan here from Zebra Invest, and today I'm sitting down with Liam from Ginger Gold, and we're going to run through all about maximising your occupancy. So if you're investing in service accommodation, whether it's obviously that you've got rented out and you own it and you're building out a portfolio that way, or it's a property that you're doing through, say, the rent-to-rent side, or even if you're actually managing and looking after a property of someone else, we're going to go through a few different bits just to really kind of help get you to maximise your occupancy. Trying to work with and work without the online travel agents, so your Airbnb and your Booking.com, whether it is worth using like a CRM, so then if you've had bookings, whether you follow up with them, how you can get them back in, how you can also work with the existing people who've booked in with your property, maximising, getting the most of them to try and get them booking back and coming back to you, and then whether you're going to go out to local projects, trades, and any tips and tricks of the trades that are going to help get you there. So I guess the main bit is obviously it's a little bit of almost like a drug, I guess, like the online travel agents, because you need them to get going. So they've also got to be something you don't like.
100%. And for everyone watching this, I'm going to try and share as many tips in a brief period of time as possible, because this is really where I get excited about. Everything you do within your short-term rental business, service accommodation business, ultimately, whether you're trying to get more properties, trying to get more landlords, get rent to rent, approaching agents, all that stuff, doesn't actually make you any money. Until you actually have your first guest come and stay, nobody gets any money, right? So even though a lot of your time and focus in the early days especially is going to be trying to get more properties, you could have 100 properties. If you haven't got one guest, you're out of business really quickly. So this is why I get so excited about maximising occupancy. So the thing that I would do, and the tips I'm going to share on this, is really quite clear. And that is, number one, when you first start, you've got to be on the online travel agents. So think Airbnb, think Booking.com. The trouble is, this is where most people get stuck. They go, right, I'm going to put it on Airbnb and that's it, and I am done. And they fill in the basic stuff. Yeah, they fill in the basic stuff, and they don't know all these tricks and tips, which you're going to get today. So number one, when you actually list on places like Airbnb and on Booking.com, they just want you to list as quick as possible. And because they want you to list as quick as possible, they take hardly any details from you. So most people fill in the details, they post the listing, and then they go, great, I'll get some bookings that come in now. But they don't actually go back into the menus and then the sub-menus and the sub-menus of the sub-menus and actually look at all the options you've got to maximize and market your listing. Because as a host, you've only really got two levers, right? You've got price. You can increase your price, you can lower your price. And the lesser it is, if you're selling it by £1 a night, you're going to get fully booked. Or you can increase your price to try and drive more profit.
I guess that's one way of making sure you get bookings, so you get reviews.
Yeah, exactly. You can lower price. And this is what most people do. They stick it on Airbnb, they go, I'm not getting booked, let's lower my price. And that's as far as they get. Now, the trouble is with that is there's a race to the bottom that very quickly you lower your price. And because it's the only lever you're using, people really struggle. Your other lever that you've got is marketing. And when we talk about marketing, there's huge amount of different threads to that. But number one is going back into your OTA listings, your Airbnb, Booking.com listings, fill in every single box you can, making sure everything is ticked, making sure everything crossed, because at the end of the day, the algorithm is going to pick up on whether or not you've got everything filled in. Yeah, and it's like they are going to promote the listings where it's got the maximized listing, the best photos, every box is filled in. You're doing everything you can as a host to try and sell the nights. So they're going to put it in front of more people, which is going to
get more. So just taking photos on your phone isn't quite going to cut it.
Yeah, so get professional photography. It's the cheapest investment you'll ever do to get more bookings, is get professional photography. Try and get a short-term rental or Airbnb photographer, not just a general photographer, because there is a difference. Stage your photos, give feeling. Even if it's a business person, they buy on emotion. So if you've got a dartboard and you can show a dart going in the bullseye and maybe a pint of beer on there, and you can show that in your pictures, there's more likely to get booked because they're going to look at that.
So when are we shooting photos for your post?
Yeah, we could come around and have a game of darts and some beers. That would be good. But yeah, so number one, maximize your OTA listings.
Okay. So then with that, have you tried using CRMs to try and drag and get people back to you? Because obviously they're booked one way, and then how do you try and re-engage those bookings to get them direct?
So there's two parts to this, and the second tip for everyone here is, once you've got going, optimized your Airbnb, optimized your Booking.com, and linked those two calendars together, is to get a property management system. And many property management systems will have some sort of customer relationship manager built in, a CRM built in. What you can then do is set up all of your automated emails to encourage guests to come back. So the last email you always want is, next time you book, call us on this number or email us, whatever it is, and we will give you 10% off because you're a return booker. And so you want to encourage people to do so. And you can set these systems up really easily. And that means without you having to lift a finger or spend any time, you're encouraging people to come back every single time. And it's so quick and easy to do. There's loads of softwares out there. I use Hostfully. There's cheaper ones out there. I always liken it to, when you first pass your test, you're not going to go out and buy a Ferrari, so don't go for the most expensive software. You can go and get a very basic software to do this, and you can get it as low as like £10-15 a month, and that will take a lot of work out of what you need to be doing, and it will encourage your guests to return. It will also allow you to be on multiple channels at once, so you can be then not just on Airbnb and Booking.com, you might be on VRBO, you might be on TripAdvisor.
You don't end up with loads of double bookings. Well,
exactly.
I wouldn't want more bookings.
Yeah, double bookings are a nightmare to sort out, and they cost you. But ultimately, it should bring in more bookings because you're then marketing on more channels. Is the idea.
Of course, yeah. So have you ever tried targeting local projects, refurbs, the trades who are working in them?
So this is really what I would class as real marketing, which is where you're actually doing something to get something. Because the good thing is about Airbnb and Booking.com is you basically put your listing on there, and then they spend literally, one's a £4 billion profit last year, well, the other one made £1 billion profit, and they'll basically just put ads towards certain properties and they'll sell whatever's selling. The trouble is they then charge you a huge commission for having your listings on there. So you as a rent-to-rent company is going to be paying huge commissions, which is why you want people to come direct. So really to market and get more people to come and book direct, you want to have your social set up. And I know we're talking about local projects and trades, but ultimately whoever you talk to is probably going to do the Google test on you. They're going to go, who is this company? And if they can't find anything about your company, if they can't find some reviews, if they can't find you on Airbnb or Instagram, then they're not going to book with you. So first of all, set out your stall, get a website, get the social setup. It might cost you a few £100, but ultimately just have that stuff before you go to these local trades and local projects. The next thing you can do is actually you can look on things like council websites, you can look on planning portals, you can see what big infrastructure is coming up, you can look in the news a lot of the time about what big infrastructure is coming up, you can look at what buildings are selling, you can follow developers on Instagram, you can look at all these things and basically start to put word out to anybody who's building anything in the area. You can contact on Instagram, is there anyone coming to work in the area while they're building this project? And then you might get some subcontractors. There are companies like Barber ABI where you can pay quite a lot. You can pay like £2,000 for a year's worth of information where it'll tell you about every project as it comes up, and it'll tell you which subcontractors are building in the area. So that'll say, hey, this road's being built in the area. But actually, if they're using local firms, you don't want to bother trying to get those to come and stay because they're going to be living locally. But if they're bringing people in from Leeds, Birmingham, Manchester, then you can see that. So you can pay for this information. But number one thing is just to follow all local developers on Instagram and all the places you can see them. Look around. Every time you see a building development going up, go and chat to the foreman or people who are walking around. Where are they staying? Who are they staying with? And you can find direct bookings that way. Definitely have leaflets if you've got more business cards, but direct them always back to your socials and your website where you've got trust and people can see where you're able to take direct bookings.
I was going to say, I know Liam, he looked after Chapelfield Road for us, and one of the tricks, I would call it a trick, was the Wi-Fi password was booked direct.
Yeah.
And then you'd come in and there would be and then you've got like a leaflet sitting on the side. But have you got any other bits and tips that you use that kind of remind people that come back to us?
So always QR codes is super important, and there's two ways to use it. Use it on everything inside the place where you're always, how does the dishwasher work? Have QR codes where you can lead people to your website where they then get used to seeing your brand and your website to book direct next time. Trouble is they've got to have booked once to see that QR code. So the tip and trick that I use the most at the moment is you can go on Canva, you can create a QR code and you can add it as a photo on your Airbnb and Booking.com listing. And the thing is,
try and steal.
Well, you're not allowed to promote direct bookings. You could get banned. Don't do that. But what you are allowed to do is have a video tour. So what ours now does is have a video tour. They go on there, they look through the first few pictures, they see one which says, scan this for a video tour. Everyone gets their phone out, goes to a video tour, and on that video tour, at the end of the video tour, it says book direct for the best deals. Our website link is underneath. And so it then leads them to book direct. So you're going to save 10, 15% every time somebody does that journey. Yeah, and you track, there's softwares where you can track the number of people who scan the code as well. So worth looking at.
Well, one of the last ones I got on there, and this is something you encourage us to do, but you said with OTAs, it's all about adding in like the features and the benefits. So what things have you tried putting into house or making sure they've got that encourage people to book on?
So number one is, and this two-part question really, because a lot of people don't tick all of the features that they may already have. So some of the basic ones are things like if you've got a washer dryer, tick dryer. People might just tick washer, and they may have. So review your listing right now, go on there and look to see is this stuff which you've got which you haven't already ticked. So easy win. Make the most of these features. So when you've got photos on the listing themselves, you might have a photo of, say, a nice shower, but people don't know the pressure water. People don't know there's underfloor heating. So you want to make sure that you're referencing these things in the description and in the caption of the photo, and talk about the stuff they can't see in the photo, and that helps with the features and benefits. And then lastly, if you want to add more, because obviously you can always add more, the easy wins are games, add games, add books. Now, in itself, people aren't going to book somewhere because it's got a game of Trivial Pursuit, but because you can tick that extra amenity, and your place has got 47 amenities, and your competitor's place has got 44 amenities, you might just show up higher on the algorithm. And if you're higher on the algorithm, you're going to get more clicks. If you get more clicks, you're more likely to get a booking. So the features which I've mentioned earlier on, dartboard is a great one. It's cheaper to install if you've got a place for it. Dartboard is fantastic.
You just need to make sure your walls are bulletproof.
Yeah, we've done NOS outside on a wall with cork behind it and a little overhead shelter, but this is particularly for a workman place. Obviously, the big wins are things like hot tubs or things which people really want, hot tub spas and all that stuff. So these are kind of wish list stuff. Things which I've seen people make the most of if they're serving contractors is a proper enclosed smoking area, quite basic, but an enclosed smoking area. The stuff indoors is games, books, games consoles. Make sure you've got a subscription service included. Not many people do it, but you can get Disney for like 79 quid a year. And if you include it, then you've already got a streaming service that they don't have to log into their phone and stuff like that. And anything you can do to get parking. So I know with Chapel Field, originally the house didn't have parking, but if you can rent a local car parking space and yours stands out differently, then it makes a big difference to occupancy having parking spaces.
Nice one. All right. Well, thank you very much, Liam. Cheers for coming along and chatting to us. If anyone's got any comments or any questions, drop them in the below. Hopefully you've liked this video and you subscribe to our channel. We'll catch you later, guys. Bye.